All right, hello and welcome back to Rachel's Atelier. This is part 2 of my alien abduction illustration that I'm going to be doing in ink. And I was kind of thinking about adding some watercolor so it's not just ink. Still might do that. I might actually, instead of back here where I originally thought I might want some color, I think I'm going to put some color in here. So I'm pretty much going to leave that area alone. And right now I'm going to just apply some of the big values by applying a wash. And since I want to kind of leave this area dry, instead of spritzing this with my spray bottle, I'm going to actually very liberally apply water so that I can get the wash I want. And I've added some masking fluid to the sky because I decided I would like to have some stars up there and I don't want to go back and add them in white. I think it looks better a lot of times to use masking fluid, and then maybe for some smaller details maybe I can use just a gel pen or something like that. So right now I'm going to be applying all up into the sky and even down here, even though I kind of want to keep it a little bit lighter, closer to the horizon line, to get a sense of maybe like a sunset, something like that. But I am just avoiding that beam for now. And I'm even going to wash over the unicorns that are outside of the beam, because they'll essentially have the same broad values as their surroundings. All right. And I did decide to just sacrifice this beaten up, cheap watercolor brush for the purpose of ink. So I think I don't really trust myself to get my brushes clean enough to use them for both purposes, so I'm going to just keep my ink brushes and my watercolor brushes completely separate because I don't want to dip a bunch of ink into my watercolors and have that happen. That would be disappointing, I think. And you can hear my dogs in the background being crazy as usual. So good thing I didn't intend for this to be a quiet video. There was no way that was going to happen. So again, I'm going to be using India ink. I do have Sumi ink that I'm not using, and that's because I might actually use watercolor with this. And if you apply watercolor or Sumi ink, it'll just smudge the ink. But India ink, once it dries, it should be pretty waterproof. We'll see if we do have any issues. Like I said, I'm really new to ink. I'm gonna go try to make my dear dog be quiet. Hold on one moment. Come here. Come here, Watson. Come on. Come on. You want a treat? Come here. Come on. Sit. There you go. Hazel. Okay. They have treats. They're probably not going to be quiet, even now, but my big dog, he likes to bark at doors. I don't know why I'm using my tiny brush, but I am. Oh well. I'm just going to start applying this wash. Started out with just some pure ink up in the corner, but now I'm dipping my brush into my water to kind of, oh no, there it goes. Well, that's okay. Let's just roll with it. The thing that I have a hard time with both ink and now clearly with watercolor and now obviously with ink, is just my desire for control. I have to let go of that. Just let things happen. And ultimately, I'm just experimenting. So, just let it go. Just like that Disney song. Well, I'm not going to let that go. We're going to try to contain it somewhat, because that's not what was supposed to happen. And I want it to start lightening up as we get closer to the horizon. You can start to see now where my masking fluid is. And even though the masking fluid isn't applied maybe exactly like in perfect little dots, it's okay, because we can go back and we can actually paint over some of those spots if some of them are a distraction. And that's just what I will plan on doing. They're just wrestling. They're not really fighting, although they might start. Sometimes they start out just playing, and then one of them starts taking it a little too seriously. Then I have to separate them. That's always fun. So I changed a few details of the drawing just a couple minutes before I started filming. I added some little alien guys peeking through that porch door or whatever it is. I thought that might be entertaining. And then I kind of touched up the form of the unicorns just a little bit, because some things were bothering me. I mean, I am trying to keep it loose and, like I said, trying to relinquish some control, but at the same time, there's, I don't know, some things like form, even if it's cartoonish, that I kind of want a certain way as much as I possibly can, maybe. I don't know. So, but I'm going to keep the wash pretty loose and not, I mean, some parts are going to be pretty close to black, but I do want to keep some areas light enough that I can actually go in and add details once this is dry with a nib and pen. I'm not one of those people that has a great mind for, creating spaceships out of my imagination, so this one's going to be pretty simplistic. That's okay though, I think. I want it to be pretty dark up in the corners. I also want to have some trees in the background, so it's not, just to add a little bit of texture and interest, I think. I'll just leave that alone. Okay, so now we're going to do the ground. The ground will be a little darker than that horizon. I guess I will, well, I'll just do a light wash. Wait, if I do a light wash, it won't dry quick enough for me to go over it again and avoid the unicorn. So actually, I'm going to apply a little bit darker wash first so that I can just avoid the unicorns, because actually I don't want them to be just as dark as the ground. So then it might just be difficult to find them at all. And actually the unicorns are a little bit wet because I washed over them initially with water. So whatever happens, happens. But just do your best. That's me talking to myself. Even though I don't talk much, I think I do talk to myself every once in a while. I definitely talk to my dogs. I am one of those people. hate to admit that, but it's just a fact. And it kind of started out just me being like funny and ironic, like baby talking to my dogs, because I think that's so ridiculous. And now I catch myself just doing that all the time. It's kind of embarrassing. Trying to work while filming myself is on several levels. It's just very different from how I'm used to working. And I do have some bad habits that I just kind of, you know, because I started drawing at a young age. And so I think when you do that, you know, you kind of develop a weird way of holding your pencil or whatever utensil you happen to be using. And I've actually, this isn't even my weirdest grip. I think I used to hold it like this. I think that's how I did, because I have this huge callus right here that I know developed when I was a kid, because I would draw so much, and I think I would hold my pencil like that. And I didn't have, as a kid, I didn't have access to any kind of paints or anything like that. And you know, I'm a child of the 80s and 90s. We didn't have the internet and tons of access to, you know, artists who want to share their knowledge and skills and techniques online on YouTube like there is now, which I think is just so awesome. There's several places I go to kind of get tips and develop my techniques, like Proco. I was just watching a Proco video, so that's fresh on Watts Atelier, and then some, and those all have free and paid options. And then I am currently doing one paid course through Dennis Perrin, but that's primarily for oil painting. And I don't just oil paint. Sometimes I wish I just had one thing that I wanted to do, but there's so many mediums that I enjoy working in. And there's so many different styles I like to do as well. I like really traditional art. I like illustrative styles and kind of that folk look. Folk sounds weird when you say it. Okay, sorry about that. I hope that didn't cause a break. I was checking a text message from my daughter. Not used to this YouTube video stuff. I don't know what I can and can't do with my phone while I'm recording. Actually, I think the ground really should get darker as it gets closer to us and further away from that horizon. So let's try to keep our dark values up here, even though I've already got some back there. I like the idea of just kind of doing funny, weird art in addition to the more serious art that I want to do. Uh-oh, Hazel's getting mad now. She's the one who, at some point, always seems to take the playing and wrestling a little too seriously. So if she starts being too mean to my big dog, then I'll pause it at that point probably. She's the small one, but she's definitely the boss. I think we all know how that goes. And I want to keep some space for the lights. They don't have to be super bright. I didn't use any masking fluid on them, so I didn't figure I would really need it. Let's just darken this up. Okay, now I think I do just want to add a light wash. It'll kind of obstruct the unicorns a little bit for now, but we'll bring them back when we're using ink. So he's gonna disappear a little bit, but we don't want him to be super white. And then this one is half in and half out of that beam, less than half out, but the part that's out we want to be darker. And normally I would put some wash into that beam on the edges. I don't know if I should, because I do want to do some watercolor. I think I want to make that kind of rainbow. I love rainbows. I love unicorns and I love rainbows, and I want more of that in my art, and I'll just find excuses to make it happen, I guess. Okay, so I think, I guess on the frame you can't see the whole thing. So there's the top. And that beam is crazy bright right now, and everything is looking a little bit sloppy, but I actually want that because I think that having that texture will add interest, maybe. Actually, I wonder, maybe I should add just some really dark blots of ink into that sky before it's completely dry. Just let it kind of do whatever it's going to do. I just don't want it to be like monotonous up there, because it's not like I can put a lot of pen strokes. I think I'll lay this flat actually, if I can. And maybe we can get some pools. Actually, at this point I can probably use my spray and we'll just see what happens. I'll just drop some extra ink in there. I don't want this guy to be boring. If it was going to be a perfect wash, that would be one thing, but it's not going to be a perfect wash. And sometimes I think that's kind of just boring anyway. Okay, so I'm going to just spritz it one more time, and then I'm going to just let it dry, and then we'll be back to do some more inking. I'm just going to make a mess here for a little while. It'll probably take a little while for this to dry because I just added a lot of water. All right, so, and just kidding, I want to add just a little bit more ink because it looks a little too light right there. All right, we'll just let that do what it's going to do now. And then hopefully I'll be back tonight, but I'm going to go work on some other projects right now that I probably won't record. So, all right, maybe I'll see you later. Bye.